Today I'm going to try and answer the age old question of who is the best in football? Is it Messi or Ronaldo? And this question has been plaguing our generation for a long, long time. But the answer to this question is a little bit more complicated than the question because comparisons generally aren't fair. They are based on the principle of generalization, and generalization disregards and undermines a lot of the unique abilities that all of us have. The personalities that are compared are generally too different in too many different ways that they become uncomparable. It is literally like comparing apples to oranges. But the hypocrisy of this fact is that even after recognizing that all of us are different in so many ways, we still are obsessed with this feeling of titling somebody as the best in that field. Let's discuss why we are so obsessed and why this is not important in today's episode of Perfectly Average. I really enjoy watching award shows, and the best part about the award shows, for me at least, is the diversity of the awards that are given. I really enjoy when people give out awards for best costume design, best screenwriter, best writer, best director, and etc. But in the end, they just have to have that one award that nullifies the whole point of recognizing people with unique talents and skills by giving out the best movie award. I mean, if you had to generalize it all in the end, then why had you given so many different awards to so many different people, recognizing their so many different abilities? Uh, how can there be a best movie if the best writer, the best director, and the best actor are from three different movies? And that is symbolic of our obsession with something being the best or the one in us humans. We humans like to categorize something as the best or the one because we like simplicity. Evolution has taught us to keep things simple, and today we can also see this keep it simple, silly rule being applied in most of our daily jobs. Because multiplicity causes complexity. Somehow, 2 into 2 is more difficult than 2 plus 2. If there are too many elements in a picture, then the picture becomes difficult to grasp. And similarly, evolution has taught us that if we keep less things in our mind and less things around us, then we have a clearer vision. That's how minimalism also works. If we keep track of too many things, then we forget to extract that value from that one thing. So that's one point. Simplicity is better for our survival. The other reason being that there is a superiority complex that is ingrained in our brains. It might not be very explicitly shown in your daily behavior, like you telling somebody that you're better than them, but it is there because evolution has taught us that to survive, we have to one up the other person. That's how Homo sapiens have survived, unless we would have also fallen like the other species of our genus. So we all like superiority in one way or the other. So the reason that the best exists is because we would like to be superior than somebody else. You could be the best, or you could be associated to the best to have that superiority or that edge over the other person. Now, before explaining it any further, I just want to clarify that these are my thoughts, these are my opinions, and I don't want anybody thinking that these are established concepts or there is some theory on this, because I generally quote them if I come across them, and I tried researching them also, but I couldn't find any connection between the thoughts that I'm having and the theories that I'm going to tell you about. So anyway, talking about why do we like the concept of the best, let's talk about how these uh, things manifest themselves in the real life. I'll give you one example of each of the reasons that I gave previously. Now, the first idea that we talked about was how humans like simplicity. And when I was thinking about this concept, I thought that the simplest way to execute this simplicity concept is by categorizing or organizing. That's how all of us like neatness, and we're obsessed with cleanliness and order, right? And I thought that maybe this one idea of, for example, caste system, uh, it makes so much sense because to manage something as complex as society, you would need some fundamental ground rules so that everything functions in harmony. You don't have conflicts within the society, and like everybody sustains a good life. So you come up with some idea wherein you can categorize people into classes, and if everybody does the job that they are required to do, then there would be no conflict, and hence everything would be well and truly good. Now I understand that caste system would be a result of so many different ideas and so many different biases also, but I feel like this simplicity idea is like an undercurrent to the all of the ideas that led to the formation of the caste system. And I feel like this makes so much sense even to me as a person now, even though of course I don't support the caste system in any way, but it just feels like it is so natural for somebody to come up with something as crude but so discreet as the caste system, just because they wanted to have some order in the society. Now, the other reason that we discussed was superiority complex. And the superiority complex can be simply understood by a psychological phenomena called belief superiority. Now, belief superiority is a concept wherein one person feels like his or her belief is superior to the other person's belief. And this is very relatable and understandable, since most of us would see people discussing and even fighting over ideas that are purely based on beliefs. They're not fundamental truths or facts, they're just beliefs. And any intellectual discussion, be it political, religious, or even cultural, is prone to having this bias of belief superiority imbibed into it. And that is fundamentally where a scientific discussion is different from all the other discussions, all the other intellectual discussions. Now, to explain uh, both the concepts that we discussed, we have a beautiful example in monotheism. Now, monotheism, for those of you that don't know, is the concept of having only one god and no other god. Now, monotheism uses both our concepts very beautifully, and it explains why sometimes the concept of the best is might not be the best thing for the society. So let's look at monotheism. Monotheism uses simplicity, as it just says that there's only one God and you don't have to worship anything else. So that's very pretty straightforward. The other concept of superiority, to understand that, we should look at the history of these religions. Now, the most popular monotheistic religions are Christianity and Islam. Now, you would, if you see that both of these religions have a very common thing in their history, is that uh, they are filled with crusades of brutal invasion and killing of several people, so as to make them the followers of their religion, because they simply believe that their god is the only true god and no other god should be worshipped. And this brings me to the point of why the concept of the one is not very important and even harmful in some cases. Because believing in the one or the best basically tells you to be unaccommodative or unaccepting. Because if you believe that Ronaldo is the best player in the world, then you cannot accept that Messi is the best, because it would contradict your initial belief that there can be only one best thing in something. So, believing in the one makes you unaccommodative and even violent sometimes. That's why you see fans fighting within themselves over something as stupid as who is the better player. On the other hand, if you accept the fact that regarding somebody as the best is not important, then you would enjoy every idea that the world has to offer. Then you would embrace watching both these legends play on the football pitch and enjoy every moment of it. So, all in all, not having the best could be the best thing that has happened to you. Thank you for listening. See you in the next one.